Hey Tracy, lovely to connect with you again today.
Yes, the energy feels really amazing today. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you noticed there's a bit of a change since we got to the 1st of September?
Oh, completely. It's like every level. Like when we last spoke, we were talking about, oh, I can feel autumn. And that
Yeah.
was 2 weeks ago. And it definitely is autumnal now. The energy feels different. Like we've got the aurora borealis again that can be seen in the UK. There's just
Amazing.
lots going on. It's really great. It's really exciting.
It really is like the energy literally just shifted, which is fantastic. And it means we're collapsing timelines. So I thought today it'd be great to talk about soul wounds, what they are, how they show up, and in particular, the witch wound.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes. God, so many people have got the witch wound, whether they're spiritual or not. In fact, if they're not spiritual, they've probably got it.
Yep.
It's almost like the opposite of the movie Sixth Sense. I don't see dead people. La 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 la.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So soul wounds are like the energetic, the emotional imprints that we've carried across timelines. And they would have stemmed from trauma, from suppression, betrayal, persecution, abandonment, unhealed karmic loops. And we hold them in our DNA or in our nervous system. So there's a lot of woundings that I feel are prevalent amongst the spiritual community that tend to show up, especially when we are wanting to step into, our spiritual power, when we're wanting to create spiritual businesses. There are a few that come up, which I happen to have put in my deck. So the wounds that I feel show up the most are the mother wound. And I
Yeah.
think, that's something that we've both dealt with
Hmm.
personally. The father wound,
Yeah.
the witch wound, which we're going to go into a lot more deeply, the prostitution wound,
Mm.
which is not what you think, the priestess wound, and the sister wound. So
Okay.
I feel they're the biggest wounds. Would you agree with that?
I would. And what I would say is when people are working with me, I don't necessarily call them wounds. So people who've done various different healing, like inner child work, even Reiki, they may know about this, but they may not know about the terms that you're using. So it may well be that they actually know more than they realize. And what I find again is they're not one and done. There's often multiple layers to them. So you might have done this work 10 years ago and gone, oh, yeah, I've healed the mother wound. And now there's something else going on in the mother wound. So, it's very rarely one and done.
Absolutely. Like you say, we've had lifetimes. So we may have cleared one or two lifetimes of that wounding, but there'll be many more to do. So
Mm,
I think, that's important. I think it's also important to mention we may not have had, for example, a witch past life.
yeah.
It can be passed down through our ancestors. It can be passed down through the DNA where
Yeah.
we store that trauma that they have experienced, where
Yeah.
we store the fears that they have been through because they've been through perhaps burning at the stake and hanging and all of those things. Or we have had a life or many ourselves. So I think if we just stick to the witch wound so that we don't confuse, too many different woundings in
Okay.
one go, we will talk about other woundings at some point. But I feel that the witch wound is the biggest thing that is coming up at the moment.
Mm,
Like, as we've shifted this energy, I feel that all of these things are coming up, right? To be cleared, to be healed, to help us to ascend, to connect more to our purpose and our mission. And for me, I feel that the witch wound is the biggest thing that blocks us from really stepping into our purpose and mission.
yeah. And like you say, not everyone's been a witch, but for every witch, you've got X amount of family members, the mother, the father, the partner, the child. And okay, don't forget witches could be men as well. It wasn't just women that were persecuted. So, if you took the average person who had, a partner and 2.4 kids, there's a lot of people affected by the witch wound.
Yeah.
And if you took someone like Matthew, the Witchfinder General in the UK, how much is going on with him and his loved ones? Because he was the one persecuting everybody. And there would have been a lot of fear in the community.
Yeah.
And so all of those people could potentially be affected by the witch wound as well, couldn't they?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's such a part of history, right? Those witch hunts, the witch times. And not only are there negative, let's say, times where we were witches, there were also positive times as well. But the witch wound is really coming from those times of persecution, of torture, of being exiled or judged or kind of being pushed out of the community. So when we're talking about the witch wound, we're talking about healers, witches,
Yeah.
midwives, medicine women, and kind of all that genre is put into the witch wound. Because if you were a healer in a past life and you were healing all of the town, and then these witch hunts started, then you probably would have been what's a good word? The town would have given you up,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, you would have just been completely turned on, and you would have,
Yeah.
at very best, you would have been stoned and beaten and everything else. And if you were lucky, you probably died really quickly,
Yeah.
because the persecution, all that fear would have been poured in. It's a bit like the mob culture you get these days, like we've got it here with the immigrants at the minute. And
Mm.
all of that fear gets focused on that person, whether they're guilty of what they're being accused of or completely innocent. That's the thing. Quite often, they're not even guilty in the first place. So,
Absolutely. And you think about the medicine women and the healers and the witches that quite often healed. You would have thought that the town would have supported them because they have helped them all their lives. But
yeah,
that fear of what would happen to them if they didn't speak up about the witch, the medicine woman, or the healer, caused them to, call out all of these people that have helped them across their lifetime.
yeah, and that can contribute to it as well, because imagine if you've been the passive person standing by and letting this happen, or you could say, actually, no, that's not true, that's not what happened, but you didn't, because
Mm,
you didn't want to get the mob turning on you. It was like self-preservation.
yeah,
Then you're left with all of the wounds that go with that because you didn't speak up. Um, and that's the same in the war when we look at Hitler with the Nazis and the people that didn't stand up for the people in their community. And
yeah.
so it's such a big thing. It's not just the person that was accused of being the witch, it's just massive.
It is absolutely enormous. So let's talk about some of the ways that the witch wound might show up. So it could be fear of speaking up and speaking for your truth.
Yeah.
Fear of judgment. I mean, that's a massive one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Being judged for your beliefs, your thoughts, your ways. If you do rituals and work with the moon and all of those things, then you may fear what judgments may come from your family, your friends. So I feel that that is the biggest one when we're talking about the witch wound. But there's also the fear of visibility,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Fear of being seen, for the fear of persecution, again, fear of being judged. There's lots of different fears that really connect in with this witch wound. So if you're a spiritual entrepreneur and you want to share your business, you may find it impossible to do a live
Yeah.
through fear of what people might think about you, or
Mm,
fear that you might get it wrong, or you know, any kind of judgment. And the witch wound really kind of makes us like go into our shell and play small.
Mm. And what I find, and you've probably found this too, is that when somebody's got these wounds, they don't necessarily know it. So
Mm.
consciously, they're like, yay, I'm going to have a spiritual business and it's going to be amazing and I'm going to be my own boss. And then they keep hitting walls.
Yeah.
And I'll speak to them in a reading and they'll go, oh, well, I'm not happy in my job, but I don't know what I want to do instead. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You've got this idea for a spiritual business. Well, yeah, I have, but I don't really think I can do it. Well, why not? Oh, well, my family will think I'm crazy. Will they really think you're crazy, or do they know you? And your ideal client is not going to think you're crazy. Your ideal client is going to go, I need that service.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of conscious, I want this, but it's not happening. And so
Hmm.
the subconscious fear is driving their behavior and they're kind of heading towards it and they kind of pivot around it. And it's like they don't know what is going on and why it's not happening. It just isn't. And they'll
Mm.
think it's external. Oh, it's the economy. Oh, it's the town that I live in. It's this, it's that. And it's like, no, it's like you've got two different things going on. Your conscious brain wants to create this business, but your witch wound is going, I can't be seen, I can't be judged, let me run away. And so quite often people aren't even going to know that they've got these wounds.
Absolutely. I mean, another big one is the fear of charging
Oh,
for
yeah.
work, in which times you may have done a little bit of bartering, but it's almost as if it's expected, that they were there to heal the community in
Yeah.
different ways. So they wouldn't have charged for their gifts. So there'll be vows and contracts and agreements in place with this
Mm.
to never charge for your gifts, to always put others before yourself. There's lots of them. So you may have made a vow of servitude
Mm.
or a vow of poverty with this because you're afraid of charging for your gifts. And that's going to show up massively
Yeah.
in a spiritual business because you will either be not charging and giving away your services for free, or you'll be undercharging because you're too afraid to charge what you're worth
Yeah.
because these times have told you that you're to be feared, you're going to be judged for being spiritual and for the work that you do. So you don't charge what you're worth. So
Mm.
there are so many different ways that this witch wound shows up. So, shall we talk a little bit about like the physical symptoms?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because like so many people, not only do they come with physical ailments that link back to how they passed, like the stoning, the drowning, and
Hmm.
sometimes they would put a board of wood over and weight it down with big boulders until you just couldn't breathe anymore and suffocated. And so
Hmm.
even just those are going to manifest because that's a really traumatic way to die. And that's without the everyday ailments as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that causes enough fears in itself, but they make start to come through as dreams,
Mm.
right? But also, I feel a big one for the witch wound is throat issues. So your throat chakra being blocked because your fear of speaking is blocking that throat chakra. So you may have sore throats or lose your voice or those kind of energies. Anything that comes from the throat is going to
Yeah.
be kind of one of the signs that you're carrying the witch wound.
Yeah. And of course, everyone thinks of the throat as being just about speaking out and communication, but it's also about hearing. So if you weren't heard, there you are protesting your innocence. And, you couldn't win because they were going to put you in water and see if you drowned. If you drowned, you were innocent. If you survived, you weren't innocent, and they were going to shove you on the fire. So you couldn't win whichever way you looked at it.
Yeah.
And so there you are trying to protest your innocence, or if you're the family of the person being prosecuted, you're trying to protest on their behalf, but nobody wants to hear you because they've already made their mind up. And so that's going to affect your clairaudience. That's going to affect your claireloquence, as I call it, which is clear speaking.
Hmm.
It's going to affect your ability to speak your truth about what it is that your soul wants to do. So it has huge amounts of effect. So you might even get problems with your ears as well, because that's linked to that chakra as well. So, it's a massive problem. And interestingly, 80% of women have got thyroid dysfunction, which is linked to the throat chakra. And
Yeah,
so, it's also a this generation female thing. So if you were a witch in a previous life or a member of the family and you got persecuted and now you've come back as female, you're doubling up on that old ancestral stuff as well as this stuff now.
absolutely. People pleasing is another one because you please everyone else so you don't get judged and it keeps you
Mm,
safe.
yeah.
And also emotional shutdown around confrontation
Mm,
is a big one as well. So there's lots of different indicators that you may be carrying the witch wound. So let us know in the comments if any of these kind of show up for you, and like what is hitting hard here, with some of the things that we've shared around the witch wound.
absolutely, because it's not black and white. It's easy to go, oh, there's these symptoms,
Mm.
but they can be a mix of lots of little symptoms.
Yeah,
And it may not be blocking your spirituality, it may be blocking you in a different way. It may just be blocking you in relationships. Let's say, for instance, because let's be honest, a lot of the persecution was, I want something you've got, your husband, your land, your children, your money, your status, whatever it is.
yeah,
So imagine if in that life you were persecuted as a witch, and it was actually your partner that did it because he wanted an affair with the milkmaid and needed you out of the way because divorce wasn't a thing back then. That's going to make it very difficult in relationships, because you've got this fear of being persecuted or mistreated by a partner.
yeah.
And so it can manifest in many ways. It doesn't have to just show up in your spiritual business.
Absolutely. It can show up in money, like in your life, in your business, in your lineage,
Yeah.
right? Because that fear of charging for your gifts, that fear of being seen. So whether you're working for a company, you're employed, you may miss out on all the promotions and all the bonuses and all of those things because you're keeping yourself small. So yeah, it can show up in any area of your life.
And it's something that can just sound so small, but it's not. And
Yeah.
then, what I found over the years is that I've had those people who've come to me, and even, when I first started out and I wasn't charging huge amounts, like £15 for a reading, people would say to me, oh, but it's a gift. I'm like, well, it's not. Everybody can do it. And they're like,
Mm,
oh, well, you shouldn't be charging for it. And I'm like, look, back in the day, the little old lady took a loaf of bread and gave you a love spell and everyone was happy. I can't ring up my mortgage company and go, can you have a reading this month because I can't make the payment.
mm.
Everything is an exchange of energy. So
Yeah.
money is energy. If we can barter and swap, which I do from time to
Yeah.
time, that's fine. I need something, you need something, let's swap.
Yeah.
Then that's cool. But it has to be that exchange of energy. And if there isn't, then you set up a karmic debt for the person that's getting something for nothing.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of people that are on the other side of the fence, and they are trying to perpetuate this thing about, oh, you shouldn't pay for it. And I think that goes back to the, well, if I'm not charging, I can't be a charlatan. If I'm not charging, then people will see that I'm honest. And that's come from the wider community that would have watched the witch being persecuted. Um, and so, you're gonna find that you've got these mirrors that are the opportunity for you to get rid of that wound so that it's no longer a problem, because as the world changes, how we work changes. And so it's a massive lesson. And as you say, it can be very ancestral. And I worked with a lady the other day, and she'd got like 3 or 4 generations of where the women did not value themselves. They didn't value what they brought to the world. They weren't valued by the people in their lives even.
Mm.
And so you will attract in those people that hold up the mirrors to these wounds. And it's not about giving in to that person's mirror. It's about recognizing that that is there and needs to be dealt with. So why can't I charge what I'm worth? Why can't I value what I do and who I am? And that's regardless, are you an actress? Are you a singer? Are you a carpenter? Are you a psychic or a healer? It's your time and money. And if you're not going to be doing this with this person here, what would you be doing in self? Like we were saying earlier on, we want to spend time with our family and friends and live our life as well as work. So I tend to think, well, do I want to do this for nothing that I don't really want to do when I could spend that 2 hours with the family? And so I look at what I value as the benchmark. And that certainly helped me get away from it's a gift, I should do it for free, and has really helped me to get a handle on what is important in the world for me and what isn't. And I'm seeing that with quite a lot of people at the moment. They're trying really hard to move away from that devaluation mindset, but it takes time and energy. It's not something you can just change in a heartbeat. It's not like dyeing your hair. It takes a lot more effort.
That's quite funny. So going back to it's a gift, right? I believe the Gallagher brothers, for example, they have a gift. They play
Yeah,
music and they sing.
yeah,
They charge millions for their gifts. Why are we different?
absolutely. I'm exactly on that page. I look at people like Madonna. I look at the footballers, and they're really good at what they do. The artists,
Hmm.
and it's not a gift. It's something that you're good at. Whether you're a good writer, whether you're a good musician, whether you're a good cook. And
Yeah,
so everybody can do what we do, but not everybody wants to, and that's fine.
yeah.
But whatever your abilities and talents are, the things that are your forte in
Mm.
this life, it is okay for you to monetize it and make a living from it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. So just before we end on the witch wound, I'd like to share that, okay, we had some negative lives, like we might have been burnt at the stake or, stoned to death, but we had amazing gifts in those lifetimes. And when working with the witch wound, we can actually call back those gifts
Yeah.
into this lifetime. So,
Mm.
yes, it's important to clear those fears, contracts, traumas, and then call back those amazing gifts. So, in this lifetime, if you're a herbalist, for example, you were probably a herbalist in a past life, and you can bring
Yeah.
forward all that energy of how you use those herbs many moons ago and
Yeah.
how that is different from how you're using them today. And we can really connect in with kind of like ancestral recipes, um,
Yeah.
and known recipes that perhaps have been lost.
Yeah, and it might be that you use herbs in your cooking. You've got Ayurveda, which is the Indian health system that is from the same root as yoga. And for instance, you might be really good at cooking amazing dishes, which bring healing. And that might not be why you're doing it, but you're putting so much love and care into what you're cooking that people go, oh my God, I had your curry and I felt amazing afterwards. So it doesn't mean that you're giving out herbal remedies. It
Mm,
might be that you are a Chinese medicine doctor or that you are an Ayurvedic practitioner. But there's so many other ways. You might be a really good, I don't know what the right word is, like cultivator of plants
mm.
that you then sell to someone that makes them into herbal remedies and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's loads and loads of different ways that might show up. It doesn't have to be what you think. And what would you say to someone that's going, I don't know if I've got a witch wound or not?
I would suggest having an Akashic Records reading to go back into past lives. but to also really be aware, right? Because sometimes we're just not aware of our own patterns and behaviors.
Yeah,
So I would suggest asking friends, like, do you think I've got this? Or does this show up in my life? Or have you heard me say this? And ask your friends because they have more of an awareness of your patterns and behaviors than perhaps you do.
absolutely. And another good one there, and this isn't so your friends can blow smoke at you. Ask them what they love about you. What are my
Mm.
strengths? Because you might see it as a weakness. And when other people are going, oh, you're amazing at this, and it's like, really? Because we don't see ourselves the way that other people see us.
Mm.
And so we need that other input. I'm really lucky that my partner will be really honest with me, not in a horrible way, but if I said, do I do this? Is it a problem? He would go, well, yeah, you do that. And it does annoy me, but it's you and I love you. But then I go, oh, I need to go and work on that. But the same if it's a positive thing, he'll sometimes say to me, oh, do you know what? I really admire that you get up and go for a run at stupid o'clock in the morning because I'll normally get up at like 6ish. And I'm like, really? That's no big deal, you know. But to him, it is because he's got no desire to do that at all, you
Me
know.
either.
So we need people like that that will say, do you know what? Yeah, you're terrible at putting yourself down. You depreciate when someone asks about your business, and then that puts them off wanting to do business with you, or you you hide what you do. You don't shout it from the rooftops. And
Yeah,
if you're doing that, then you're not going to show up in your social media posts. Like you said earlier, you're not going to show up in your lives. It's
yeah,
going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to come across the wrong way, if at all. Um, and so there's lots of ways of getting to what you want. I think journaling's great.
yeah,
Journal about your thoughts on being a witch.
yeah,
Journal on your thoughts about charging for something you do. Even if you're a social media content creator, are you charging your worth? And when you're looking at other people, are you looking at them going, oh, well, yeah, but it's okay for
mm,
them. They've got a husband with millions coming in, or, oh, it's okay for them. They've got a trust fund, or it's okay for them. They don't need the money, or whatever it is you're saying, because those will be giveaways as well. And journal about that,
yeah,
because then you can pick it apart and go, well, why do I think that? That person didn't just wake up one day as a social media content creator earning £5 a month,
yeah,
you know? So
yeah,
it's not it's not good to generalize and say, oh, it's okay for you, because you're seeing the finished article, you're not seeing where they started. And so I think that journaling is a really great tool for that, so that they can get clarity. So all of the tools above that we've mentioned are good. I'm a big fan of not just sticking to one tool.
yeah.
I think sometimes one tool will work better than the other, but you don't know till you've worked with multiple tools.
Yeah, we're all individuals. We're all very different.
Yeah.
So we can't just say to you, right, we'll go journal on that because journaling may be something that you really struggle with, or
Mhm.
meditation may be something you struggle with. We can't be good at everything. So it's a case of trying different things and seeing what resonates with you.
Yeah. I think if you're going to meditate, I personally would recommend to my guys that they have an intention for that meditation. So I need to know if I have a witch wound,
Mm,
or I need to know what's holding me back in my business, and then meditate. And it might come up as words or thoughts or feelings or just a knowing. And you'll just get this little bit of inspiration in some shape or form that makes you understand where that block is.
yeah,
And then you can go and use another tool to get rid of it.
definitely. Definitely. There's lots of different ways of working with the witch wound and also healing the witch wound as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because ultimately we want to heal it.
Well, we do. Yeah, that is the whole point of being aware of the
Good.
wounds, being aware of the energy blocks, is to get rid of them. And
Mm,
that's why our soul is here. I think sometimes it's easy to think that, you're born, you have a suffering life, and then you die and you go, oh, thank God that's over. But there's so much more to it than that. If this was a job role, you would be mastering the computer or a spreadsheet. You'd be mastering
Mm.
time management or giving a talk in the boardroom meeting to your colleagues, you
Yeah.
know? So this is no different. So we're learning to be seen, we're learning to be heard, we're learning to not fear judgment. Everything that we've been born with is our apprenticeship, and we've just got to clear the noise, and then we emerge as this diamond from the lump of coal, is how I look at it. So I think I'm kind of semi-coal and semi-diamond, because I always view myself as the Bristol Bridge. I'm a work in progress. I'm not done. I'm still finding stuff. I mean, crikey, I've worked with you and found stuff and I've gone, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So there's always work to be done. And actually, I quite like that. Otherwise, I think I'd be bored by now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if everything went our way and, we had all the money in the world and all of those things, I believe we would be bored.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really do, because there'd be no challenges. And I think challenges keep us curious, they keep us taking action, and they really open us up to different opportunities and different possibilities. So it
Absolutely.
would be a boring world without the challenges that we agreed to
Yeah.
work through in this lifetime.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at where we are now, and I don't even know how long I've known you, Susie, like 15 years?
15 years, it must be.
Yeah. So in that 15 years, we have changed a lot. When I first started, I would class myself as just a tarot reader and medium. But since then, I've grown, I've done self work, I've delved into new things, I've stumbled across new things and gone, oh, this is really interesting. I need to know about this. This is
Yeah.
really interesting. Um, and there's been stuff that I've delved into and gone, yeah, not interested in that. I've done what I need to with that. Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't think I'm the same person I was 15 years ago. No,
No,
I'm not.
definitely not. I feel like we've both grown, we've both branched out into different areas. I started off with Reiki and Tarot, and now the Akashic Records is my go-to, and I think we're drawn with different things that come up. So for me, essential oils, the moon, anything mystical, I really love. But it's not just learning about it, it's integrating it. And that integration is what helps us to grow,
Yeah,
right? And then we share it and then we help others, which helps us to grow a little bit more.
yeah.
So yeah, I think we're very different people from when we first started. I'm definitely more confident than 15 years ago when I was quite new to this and,
Oh,
you know, wondering, I think we all probably go through um, those feelings of, am I imagining this?
mm,
Is what I'm saying right? What if I get it wrong? What if
yeah,
a reading doesn't resonate? And it's like, well, now, 15 years later, well, that's what I got. It will resonate with you, but it may take some time
yeah,
for you to understand the message, right?
mm,
But it will drop in when it is ready to drop in,
yeah.
right? 15 years ago, I would have been, oh no, I've got it wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I mean, I don't go, I'm right, you're wrong, just like suck it up, because that's not who I am.
No,
But I
no.
am very much more confident to say, look, put that one on a back burner, go
Yeah,
home and think about it, talk to loved ones if it's a mediumship thing, and then, maybe the penny will drop. And literally, I've driven home from a party booking and I've told the girl that there's this cameo brooch in the family that her grandmother's left. And she's like, no, 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 don't even know what a cameo is. Don't know
yeah,
what you're talking about. In the half hour it took me to drive home, I've got a picture of the cameo brooch from her, and she's like, oh my God, you've spoken to my mum. But I was driving home going, oh my God, I got that wrong. They're going to think I'm terrible. They're going to think I'm useless. Oh my God, they're going to tell everyone not to use me because I'm rubbish. And, I tied myself in a huge
yeah,
knot. And I'm less likely to do that now.
yeah,
Instead, I look at where did it go wrong? Did I misinterpret spirit? Did I not trust what I was getting and didn't give the full message? What was really going on? Or maybe
yeah,
it was just the person didn't want to hear it and they go, no, no, no. And you've got to wait for that person to be able to absorb it and go, okay, yeah, maybe you're right.
yeah.
So that's been a huge, huge learning curve. And it's one of the things that I do spend quite a bit of time on when I'm teaching is
Mm.
explaining to my guys, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay for someone to go no to you, but there's a big difference between no and I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if you give someone a no, that kills the energy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're saying, I don't know that about that person, then that's
Yeah.
a different energy. Um,
100%.
and I've got various ways that I'm teaching at the moment. I've just launched a Telegram channel where people can get little spiritual bites every week to just help them on their journey, because everyone keeps telling me they've got no time to go to development classes. Plus, I've got my free Facebook group and I've got my monthly development group. So they all get as much from me as I can possibly give them. I'm just giving it to them in different ways. But I want everybody to be able to have what we've got, because I think we've got an amazing life and I think we're so blessed. And I just think everyone should be able to do what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from my point of view, we're not tied to
Mm.
anything. We have complete freedom. And I feel being a free spirit is very important. So we're not tied to our offices. We can work anywhere in the world, which is
Absolutely.
an incredible opportunity
Mm.
for our own growth, but to also, meet different people, meet different groups of people.
Mm.
So yeah, I think we're very lucky in what we do what we do, but also we feel fully supported all the time. We never feel alone, which I
Yes,
think is a nice thing.
it is really nice. So, how can people work with you, Suzi?
So I have my amazing Akashic Alchemy Oracle deck, which is on Kickstarter at the moment. So this will finish on the 21st of September. So everything that you need to help you to move forwards, to clear the wounds, to understand what's holding you back, to clear the soul contracts. There's so much in these 58 cards to help you to step into your own power, your own sovereignty, and almost become your own healer, which I think is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And they also come with a beautiful journal as well. So this is an add-on to the deck. So this really helps you to connect into the
Mm.
cards.
Can't wait to get my hands on those two when you're back in the UK.
Oh no, it's going to be amazing. So, I'll put the details for the deck and a little bit more information on the deck. It's all Akashic based. It is a living transmission to really help you to step into your power, your sovereignty, and to find freedom from all the things that have been holding you back. I also have a witch wound healing and reading session, which you can find on the website. So I'll put the link for that as well, where we go into 3 different witch lives that are affecting you the most so that we can clear the trauma and the energy, give you the understanding that you need, and we can call back the gifts from those lifetimes as well. So that's an amazing session.
Do you know what? I want one, even though I don't need one.
It's a great session.
I'm like a spiritual junkie. It's like, oh, I want to do
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
that. So we'll put all the links beneath this in the comments. If you want to work with us, there's lots of different ways, whether that's a reading, whether that's group work, get in touch. And we will be back with you next week, provided nothing crops up. Apologies for having skipped last week, but it just
Yes.
wasn't going to happen with various things. So we will be back next week and we'll decide which wound we're going to look on or look at next week.
Yeah, I'm feeling called to the priestess wound because I feel that's the biggest next one.
Okay, right. So if anyone's got comments or questions about priestess wound, drop them in the comments and we will try and cover them next week.
Yeah, perfect. And do let us know what resonates from the witch wound, what you feel you're holding from the witch wound, so that we can help you with
Brilliant.
that as well.
Excellent. So
Perfect.
have a beautiful day, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Ciao for now.